Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy,
And I'm Sean.
and welcome to our channel, Onboard with GS. In this video, we're going to be talking about Virgin Voyages. We recently sailed with Virgin for the first time, and we cannot wait to share the pros and cons of our sailing with Virgin Voyages. So if you're in a look for a new cruise line, or have you already cruised with Virgin Voyages, this video is for you. So let's get started.
We took a 4-night sailing out of PortMiami on board the Scarlet Lady, which is Virgin Voyages' first ship, which was delivered to Virgin back in April of 2020. The ship didn't inaugurate its maiden voyage, as they call it, until about a year after due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But they do have more ships in the pipeline, so they are growing.
And I'm so happy they're cruising again. So talking about their pros, I really like their adult experience. For me, one of the biggest pros of sailing with Virgin Voyages is that adults only experience. It means that you can enjoy more than a mature atmosphere on board without dealing with children. Not that we have anything against children, but I really love having that playground and that space for just adults.
Yeah, it's really cool. The adults only experience really does offer something that's a little bit more unique to the customers that Virgin's trying to get.
And I feel like everyone is also like in the same mentality of just having fun, having a good time, relaxing. Something that you don't get on those cruises that are packed with kids.
One of the things that Virgin also highlights with their adults only experience is it's for the young at heart. So whatever that kind of means to you is what's really important when you think about booking a Virgin cruise.
I agree. And something that I want to point out is, it doesn't matter your age. If you are open and you're willing to have fun, Virgin is for you. We saw ages from, I think we were one of the youngest in our sailing.
Yeah, we were definitely on the younger end.
The low 20s all the way up to 80s, and everyone, I feel like everybody was having a bunch of fun.
Yeah, for sure. So next up is the modern design of the ship. So this area we really saw as a big pro. It's got a very sleek, and maybe swank is the word for it, type design. The entire ship, just from looking at the ship, which we actually have displayed right here to Jeremy's right and my left, it's got a very modern, updated design. When you get on board the ship, the rooms, or the staterooms that is, they're outfitted with mood lighting, with iPads that can control your curtains if you're in a veranda, and also just a bunch of cool features that make it feel very modern.
Yeah, and let's talk about that hammock. That was the most
the
comfortable hammock that I have experienced in my life, and I grew up with hammocks around my house, and I think that was very comfortable. And just laying down on the red hammock, as you had seen, was a good experience. It was very relaxing, especially on those days at sea.
Yeah, one of Virgin Voyages' staples is having that red hammock on board their balcony staterooms.
I believe every single one has them, right?
With the exception of some of the limited view ones in the front, which we were actually originally in and ended up switching to a different one just before the sailing started.
Not only their rooms, but their dining experience was amazing.
Yeah, the innovative dining with Virgin. So this is really something you're going to want to kind of key in on. So Virgin Voyages does not have a main dining room. There is no main dining room in the ship. They have a bunch of different specialty restaurants. All of those specialty restaurants are included in the fare that you've purchased. So there is no pay-for restaurants on board the ship. And what you do is when you get on board the ship, or even before you begin to sail, you can go on the Virgin Voyages app and you can book which restaurants you want at which time. We do highly recommend that you do it ahead of time, because if you don't do it ahead of time, you wait until you get on board the ship, it's quite possible that your reservation time may be taken. They do take walk-ups. We did a walk-up in one of the places, the steakhouse, or it's similar to a steakhouse called The Wake, and they were able to accommodate us there. But another example of a really awesome place they have is a Korean barbecue.
Gunbae.
Gunbae. And they weren't able to take our walk-up because of how popular it is. Some other options they have too are vegetarian restaurants and things of that nature.
And don't freak out if you go to the app before you're sailing and see that everything's full. They usually only release about 20% of the reservations before the cruise starts, and then 80% of the reservations are going to be available once you board the ship.
And then, unique activities. What do you think of some of those activities they have on board the ship?
So other than the food, I feel like One of the cons was their unique activities. They have a tattoo shop. I didn't get a tattoo because we had another cruise right after that, so I wasn't able to do it, but I would love to next time, Virgin. The shows that they have, even when they were limited, because they didn't have a lot of shows throughout the sailing, they were so good and so mind-blowing. There was one called the Untitled Dance Show that
literally untitled.
We were so confused about it, but at the same time, it created a message. It created something very unique that you don't see in your traditional cruising.
Yeah, and tying into the unique activities, they also have karaoke rooms, and while I definitely don't sing, somebody definitely loves to sing. Great.
I try my best.
Yeah, so the karaoke room is cool. You do have to put a reservation in for them, but the reservation system there, it is not in the app. It's actually just a piece of paper in the karaoke area that you can sign up, put your name down, and pretty much just go in the room. You just go in there and you just sing your soul away.
And adding to the unique activities, I call Virgin as a playground for adults. They have a gym, an outdoor space for exercises. They have an actual playground, like a small playground with swings. They have seesaws.
Yeah, the seesaw.
They really have so many activities just for adults, and it makes that environment and that uniqueness that you don't get in your traditional cruising experiences.
Yeah, it really does. So those are some of the pros that we enjoyed on board the Scarlet Lady. There are countless amount of pros that we could add here, but for the sake of time, we're going to dive into some of the cons or opportunities that we saw while sailing on board this ship.
And if you need a more detailed review, please leave it in the comments, and we are willing to and open to just providing that review for you guys. So looking at the cons of our sailing, I'm going to say the limited itinerary. Virgin is a fairly new company. They started around 2020, right? Around COVID, or right before COVID.
Right after. Their ship was delivered, and then they didn't sail until COVID.
And their itineraries are a little limited. You do get to leave from Miami for a 4, 5, or 6-day cruise. However, they are still expanding their stops, their port stops, and their routes. So if you really want to do like a 7-day Caribbean cruise, this might not be for you.
So when it comes to the limited itineraries, they're kind of in a peculiar space only because they only have 2 ships currently. Mm-hmm. They have the Scarlet Lady and the Valiant Lady. The Scarlet Lady primarily does 4-night, 5-night cruises out of PortMiami, year-round that is. And usually it stops in Key West, sometimes the Dominican Republic, the Bahamas, Bimini, and Cozumel. Those are pretty much the places that ship goes. Now the Valiant Lady during the winter season is in PortMiami, but during the summer season does go to the Mediterranean Sea. You can get a 7-night sailing on them there. I do believe that Virgin's going to have this problem resolved with the new ships, both the Brilliant and the Resilient Lady. One of the ships is going to be based in Port of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we'll be going to some really unique ports that a lot of major cruise lines don't actually go to. So itinerary is worth looking out for come 2024.
Adding to the cons of this cruise and our personal experience with Virgin is how expensive or pricey their sailings can be. And I can understand the price point just because they offer a more premium product. However, if you look at their prices and compare them with like cheaper or more affordable cruises such as Carnival, even MSC, Royal Caribbean, they do tend to be like in the higher price point of cruising.
And just to add to that, though, when you look at the expense that Virgin Voyages is, so they are priced at a point that is higher than pretty much most of the cruise lines that are standard, such as Celebrity, Holland America, Princess. They're priced maybe even a bit higher than that. One thing you have to keep in mind, though, with that price point is there's a lot more included with it than you would get if you were sailing on board any other cruise line, really.
Every single diner experience was included in our sailing.
Yeah, all the dining rooms were included, but also what's included, and this one's really a big one to note, is the soft drinks, the coffee, the drip coffee that is, and also juices and waters. So on most other cruise lines, if you want to have soda, if you want to have not so much the coffee, but if you want to have sodas, the soft drinks, you have to buy up to that. Also, another thing that Virgin offers just as a part of being on that ship is their Wi-Fi, which is also included in the fare you purchase, so you don't have to buy up. You could buy up to a better Wi-Fi package. Wi-Fi is kind of what you would expect on a cruise ship. And then also another piece to add to all of that is gratuities. There are no gratuities. The gratuities are built into that bigger fare that you've paid. So it's almost like it's an all-inclusive type fare.
So let's talk about the food. And this is something that some people hate it, some people loved it. I'm like in my cons, and it's that there's no traditional buffet. We have cruise, Royal, Celebrity, NCL, MSC in the past, and we all, we enjoy going to the buffet and grabbing a snack. However, Virgin just offers what they call the galley, which is like a space with multiple, I'm gonna call them food trucks or spots where you can go get your food.
Yeah.
And you order a la carte. Even though they are pretty quickly with their service, it's very non-traditional, it's very unique, and some people might not like it, especially when you're just going to grab a snack or you just want to pop by and see what they're offering. That's not something that you want to get or that you're gonna get with Virgin Voyages.
Yeah, there's a mixed emotion with the galley. So one of the things, everything Jeremy just mentioned, it's true. It is a little bit difficult in the sense that it's more regimented, and there isn't really any popping by for just a snack. You do have to sit and you do have to wait for service. One thing we do love about that, though, or one thing I personally loved about it, is it cuts down on food waste. When you look at a buffet, you can't even imagine what the food waste is like there. So from an inventory standpoint, it almost makes sense. And then also, you don't have 2,000 hands all over all the food. That is, so if you're somebody who loves the idea of not a bunch of people touching your food at a buffet, the galley is a pretty good place.
We actually got one of the best service at the galley.
Yeah,
so
she was great.
I think that you continue to get that experience throughout all the dining venues.
So the last area of opportunity, and this is one we certainly see as an area of opportunity, is check-in. So the check-in process, make sure you do it on the app before you get to PortMiami. Virgin Voyages does have a brand new terminal. It's beautiful. It's very well set up. The only issue is you don't get to spend a lot of time there. Now, that obviously sounds like a good thing because you don't want to be spending time in the terminal. You want to be on the ship. But Virgin Voyages doesn't begin to allow people onto the ship unless you're in a Rockstar suite or above until 1. That's when the first group of people get on. Most traditional cruises are around 10:30, 11 o'clock, usually around 11, I think. Yeah. And this cruise line doesn't begin until 1. And they're very, very on it about your check-in time. So if you are assigned a 1:45 arrival time, you will not be let on the ship. You will not be let into the terminal until 1:45. Possibly later if there are any delays. We didn't experience any delays, but our time slot was 2:45, and we were able to slip in there probably about 15 minutes early. The terminal itself is just beautiful. There are a bunch of spaces to sit, a bunch of places to hang out. The issue that really came about with the check-in is just that you couldn't use those spaces. Those spaces didn't make sense because you were kept outside until it was your slot, and then you were ushered upstairs to an agent who had an iPad or a device similar to such. And they checked you in very quickly and would assign you with a room key, which is actually this right here in my hand.
That's your wallet, that's your room key, that's your everything. So make sure that you don't lose it.
So check-in wasn't terrible. It was fast when we got there. But if you're going to be at the port early, recommend the cafe up the street.
But on the other hand, disembarkation was pretty quickly. We were out of that ship in minutes. We actually had an early flight, do not recommend. But we had, we disembarked it before 7:30, and we were on our way out of the terminal by 7:45.
Yeah, we were at the airport by probably about 8 o'clock, 8:30. 8:30 for,
Virgin has a lot of areas of opportunities that, they're definitely working on. However, I'm going to say it, they're on my top 3 of cruise lines to sail with.
Yeah, I would agree. Can't tell you which my favorite is right now. You'd have to stay tuned for more.
So if you want to hear more from our sailing, please let us know, and we will be happy to provide more input into our review. So there you have it. These were our pros and cons from our sailing with Virgin Voyages on the Scarlet Lady. We hope you enjoy our video. Thank you for watching. And if you're not subscribed, What are you waiting for? Make sure to subscribe, leave comments, like this video, share it with your friends so we can start vlogging, providing more reviews, and helping us as much as I want to help you guys in your cruising experience.
Thank you guys.